Here's Craig Button, our director of scouting, joining us from a hotel room in Sarnia. Craig, it's great to see you. Leafs beat the Bruins for the first time in 9 games. A lot has been made about the struggles of the Toronto Maple Leafs power play. They get 3 power play goals against Boston without Auston Matthews. So, Craig, the solution to the Toronto Maple Leafs power play was simply to have Auston Matthews no longer be in the lineup?
I don't think that that's the answer. Sunday's game versus Minnesota, they scored their only goal on the power play. Interestingly enough, they had 5 forwards on the ice there. So, trying to look at different players on the power play. I mean, he got back on the power play as a defenseman, but there's too much talent, Jay, for that power play not to be effective, for that power play not to be able to produce. And, you go through stretches where it doesn't seem that anything goes right. And then you go 3 for 7 against the Boston Bruins, and you're starting to feel that the power play and the skill that the Toronto Maple Leafs can put out there is really clicking together. And certainly that's what you would expect from this team. That's what you would expect from the high-end talent they have on the team. And certainly Auston Matthews, not playing. There's a big difference between cause and effect. Auston Matthews being out was not the cause or the ultimate effect of them going 3 for 7. Bottom line is the power play was rolling. That's a positive sign for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Absolutely agree. Let's talk about the Winnipeg Jets. What a hockey team, Craig. 12 wins in 13 games. Just unbelievable stuff. But you know as well as I do, that first-round exit last season in the postseason still lingers in the minds of Jets fans. But you're starting to see some signs, Craig, about potential playoff for success for this version of the Winnipeg Jets. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, and Jay, we remember those 5 games versus the Colorado Avalanche, and they weren't pretty. And last year, 110-point team in Winnipeg, goals against, it was the best in the league, Vezina Trophy winner in Connor Hellebuck, and everything just seemed to snowball against them once the Colorado Avalanche got rolling. So what does it come down to? It comes down to how can you raise the level of your play come playoff time? What do the playoffs demand of teams and players? You have a half a second less time, you have 3 feet less space. You have to be patient. The opponent is going to try to push you. They're going to try to find the soft underbelly in your team. So what you have to do, Jay, is you have to harden up. And where do you harden up? You don't harden up at the beginning of the playoffs when that begins. You got to do it over the course of the season. And what the Winnipeg Jets have done from the outset of this year, they've been patient. They've been harder. They haven't chased a game that wasn't to their liking. They've stayed and just said, okay, this is the way we're going to play. We might not get rewarded right now, but we're not going to give the opponent an opportunity to get an upper hand on us. That's what the playoffs require. Sometimes you're going long stretches where it's just tight and you don't think anything's happening. That's okay for nothing to be happening. What you don't want to do is try to push something where it works against you. And that's what the playoffs require. That's what the playoffs demand. And certainly when the Winnipeg Jets get to the playoffs this year, everybody's going to be waiting. Everybody's going to be suspecting, okay, what do we really have? Maybe doubting. But what the Winnipeg Jets are doing through 13 games is beyond impressive. And more than that, and I know we're talking small sample size, but the early signs, JR, is that they're hardening themselves for the playoffs. And when you get to the playoffs, if you're hardened, you got an excellent chance to be successful.
Then we had that all-Canadian matchup in Montreal, Craig. How about Matt Coronato? Great story. Just called up for the American Hockey League. He ties it late. He wins it 7 seconds into overtime. A performance like this, something that might make Ryan Huska want to hold on to this kid and keep him with the big club?
Well, I don't think there's any question they want to hold on to their young players. Matt Coronato was a high draft pick. He's somebody that's had success. Last Wednesday, Jay, I was in Calgary when they played the San Diego Gulls. Matt Coronato had 2 goals. He was an excellent player in that game. Sometimes it's not so much about are you up, are you down? It's about, okay, is your game growing? And certainly when Matt went down to the American Hockey League team, his game grew. And now he comes back and and you can just see confidence building, not only in Matt Coronato, but in a young team. Connor Zary gets a goal. He might have not have had his best 2 games in recent. And then you have Dustin Wolf in the net, who's been brilliant outside the NHL for 5 years. And now he's showing that he can take it. This is a team in Calgary that plays hard. They're plucky. They're not going to get pushed around. And here they are now going on the road, beating Montreal, falling behind, and then finding a way not only to get back into the game, but to win it. And this is what you can expect all year long. Do I think they're a playoff team? No, I don't. And people might get upset that I'm underestimating them. But at the same time, Jay, they're going to be a hard out. And everything is about how do they build with their young players and how do they get themselves in 18 months and 24 months time into a place where they can be now really see themselves as a top contender. Matt Coronato, Dustin Wolf, Connor Zary, others, younger players that are playing really well and showing that they're ready for prime time. Only positive signs for Craig Conroy, Ryan Huska, and the Calgary Flames faithful.
Unfortunately, we have to end on a bit of a downer note here, Craig, because the Ottawa Senators just lost their 4th straight on the road. They are 1-5-0 on the road this season. Do you look at things like this, Craig, early on, and are you at all concerned about the way the Senators team is playing away from home so far this season?
Yeah, last Friday versus the New York Rangers, they were excellent. Igor Shesterkin denied them the opportunity to win a game. Then they come right back on Saturday night and have an excellent game at home. And, to me, that's a positive sign. But with the Ottawa Senators now up against Buffalo, Buffalo's a competitor. Buffalo's trying to find their way forward. And now you have a game where you want to show, okay, we're ahead of you. Buffalo wants to show that they're ahead of the Senators. And it's kind of one step forward, one step back. And at some point in time, if you want to be taken seriously, you have to take 2 steps forward. Then you got to take another step forward. So now that becomes 3. You can't take 1 step forward, celebrate it, feel good about it, and then take a step back like they did versus the Buffalo Sabres on Tuesday night. And I've used this term before. The talk is all there in Ottawa, and the players want to win. I know they want to win. Travis Green wants to win. Everybody. But your actions now have to speak. And right now, their actions speak sometimes of a team that's showing that they can be successful, and at other times, like Tuesday versus Buffalo, that they might be a little bit further away than they'd like to be.
They've got 2 of their next 3 games on the road, the Senators do, so they have a chance to work themselves through this narrative a little bit. On the ice, Craig Button in front of a wall of different beige items. Thank you, my friend.